What up? It's that time of year again where the Oscars do their nominations for their movies, and I've already spoiled the list for myself because I tried to record this once, and without, it's got to be the Oscar nominations where I screw up the first recording and have to redo it. So I've seen these. We're going to go through these. I'm going to be kind of quick with these. If you want to watch the Oscars along with me, feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. I'll be doing a reaction stream during the entire Oscars here and on Twitch. So feel free to subscribe for that when it comes out. Uh, just a fair warning, I've not seen a lot of these movies. A lot of these movies, either one, we haven't got near us, two, is on Netflix. I don't currently have Netflix, or three, I just didn't go see them in theaters. So and some of them aren't out yet. So I don't have a ton of input for every one of these movies coming out. They're on my watch list, and I will try to watch most of the big ones, if not all of them, before the Oscars themselves. So, with that, you could also maybe look forward to a video where I go through and kind of review, at least at bare minimum, I want to watch all the Best Picture nominations. Although one of them I might not be able to. We'll see. Anyway, the humanitarian award goes to Richard Curtis. The memorial award goes to Barbara Broccoli. I know it's probably like broccoli or broccoli. I don't know. And Michael G. Wilson. The honorary award goes to Quincy Jones and Juliet Taylor. Let's get into this, shall we? The best international feature goes to I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, Emilia Perez, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and Flow. Now, when we get done with going through these lists, I'm going to bring up some that I think were snubbed for Oscars, but every one of these is on my watch list, and I have not got to see any of them. I'm Still Here is not out yet. The Girl with the Needle. I'm not sure where you can watch this at. It's releasing January 24th. Emilia Perez is on Netflix. Haven't watched it yet. The Seed of the Sacred Fig is not out yet. And Flow is out, but I don't think it's near us anywhere, but we can rent on Prime. So, boom, baby. Documentary short Death by Numbers, I Am Ready, Warden Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra. Not seen any of these. Best live action short, Anjua, I'm not sure how to say that. Last Ranger, Aileen, The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, and I Am Not a Robot. Not seeing any of these. I'm not seeing any of the shorts. Best animated short, Beautiful Men in the Shadow of the Cypress, Magic Candies, Wonder to Wonder, and Bjork or Yuck. Now, our local, I say art house theater, but they've kind of morphed into just a regular movie theater now. They typically do these shorts you can go see in their theater, so I might do that this year. I haven't decided yet. Best animated feature, The Wild Robot, Flow, Inside Out 2, Wallace and Gromit, A Vengeance Most Foul, and Memoir of a Snail. I'm very happy to see Memoir of a Snail here. Very, very happy. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. But if you can tell by my rating here, I also really loved The Wild Robot. I would be happy with either of these getting it, but I'm leaning more toward a Memoir of a Snail. I personally like the movie a little bit more, but also like it'd be kind of a cooler win. I'm sorry. I'd be happy with Wallace and Gromit taking it too. I've loved Aardman for years. I love Wallace and Gromit. I genuinely cannot wait to watch this. I just don't have Netflix right now. Inside Out 2 is on Disney Plus, so I'll watch it at some point. And Flow, we saw that I can rent if I want to. I'm rooting for Memoir of a Snail, but so far I'd be happy if any three of these win. Although that might change once I watch Flow and Inside Out too. So Memoir of a Snail though is fantastic. I can't recommend this movie enough. Best documentary feature: Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, soundtrack to a coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. I've only heard of Porcelain War. I think it won the best documentary at Sundance. So I've not really heard of any of these other ones. So I'm going to be adding them to my watch list, and hopefully I can catch out a couple of them. Are any of them available for streaming? So Black Box Diaries on Paramount Plus. No Other Land is not out yet. Porcelain War is no information. Soundtrack is available for rent on Amazon, and Sugarcane, excuse me, is on Hulu. cool. Best achievement in visual effects: Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. I definitely think Dune Part 2 has probably the best visual effects, definitely the most visual effects here. And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes also was kind of no slouch on the visual effects. A lot of great visual effects here. Wicked, I do not agree with this being here. Very obvious visual effects, very noticeable green screen. Well, I should say blue screen. Very noticeable matte keying. I don't know what you call it because there's no way they used a green screen with her being that green. But it was noticeable. You could tell the backgrounds weren't originally there, stuff like that. In some scenes, not all of them, but in some of them. Better Man, I've not seen yet. I don't really have much of an interest in this, but I probably will watch it at some point. And Alien Romulus, I mean, it had decent visual effects. I'll give it that. Yeah, one of the stronger suits of the movie, I guess. But there's a couple I think that were snubbed that we'll talk about later. Best achievement in music written for motion pictures original song: Elton John, Never Too Late. I've never seen the documentary. Emilia Perez for two of them, for Mi Camino and El Ma. Sing Sing for Like a Bird, and the 6888 for The Journey, which apparently this is a Tyler Perry like war movie. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in it because like seems like a weird subject matter for Tyler Perry to try to tackle, but Sing Sing I have zero interest in. I've seen the trailer for it. It just doesn't seem interesting to me. And I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like Coleman Domingo. Everything I've seen him in, he's always been kind of the worst part. I don't like him much as an actor. But I would be willing to give this a shot eventually, maybe. And Emilia Perez, you're going to see this name a lot. Like a lot. I'm not seeing it yet. Best achievement in music written for motion pictures original score: The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot, as much as I love that movie, the score is pretty forgettable. I've not seen these three. Wicked kind of makes sense, I guess, although, Wicked is kind of a musical bar backing off of an established musical, so there's a couple of noms here that definitely should be here. I've not seen these three, but I definitely can tell you there's two of them in my top of my head that should replace these two. We'll talk about later. Achievement in makeup and hairstyling: A Different Man, which is on Max, so I do want to watch that sometime soon. Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Yeah, I mean, these three all make sense to me. I've not seen these two, but these three sure do make a lot of sense. Nosferatu looks great. Eggy has a great eye for visuals, so the costumes look great. The hair, the makeup, Orlok looks fantastic. The Substance is wild. Has some amazing makeup for Demi Moore's character and Margaret Qualley's character. So really like The Substance here. And Wicked has a lot of hair and makeup. A lot. So I kind of get it here too. In terms of this group, I'd be happy with either of these three, but I'm going to personally root for The Substance. Best sound: A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot does have some really good sound design. Dune Part 2 also has some really good sound design. I've not seen A Complete Unknown. Wicked, I guess. When I think of best sound, I don't think of musicals. I don't typically think of like the music to it. I think about the actual sound design, the Foley, how things are mixed into the mix, how things are designed within, if I'm getting to listen to it in a surround sound mix, how it's designed in that surround sound mix. That's what I'm thinking of when it comes to best sound. Wild Robot, pretty good, pretty great, has a lot of life to it. Dune Part 2 is loud, but also it makes the world feel huge. So those two make sense to me. There is one that I think off the top of my head that is very big snubbed here that could be easily put in, but we'll see. Best achievement in costume design: Wicked, Nosferatu, Complete Unknown, Conclave, and Gladiator 2. I've not seen these bottom three, so I can't really comment too much on them, but between these two, I personally like Nosferatu better as a film. I also personally like the costumes better in Nosferatu because it's more kind of my style in terms of things like I like. But when I was like movies getting nominated for an Oscar, Wicked, and I remember leaving Wicked, my mom even saying that it deserves like an award for its costumes. I kind of get it. The costume design and the makeup and stuff is one, and the production, I guess, of it is kind of the strong suit of Wicked. So I can definitely see it going to Wicked, and I probably wouldn't be that upset about it. But who knows? Maybe these three are way better. Best achievement in production design: Wicked, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Conclave. I would give it to Dune Part 2 personally, but out of the ones I've seen, I think Wicked and Dune Part 2 are probably the stronger of production design because it feels like there's more of it, I guess. It feels like there's more originality, more creativity, like more creative like liberties here with like how they design stuff and how it's shown in the film. I haven't seen Conclave, I haven't seen The Brutalist, but like Nosferatu is a great looking movie. I like the production. But like Dune and I don't know, Dune and Wicked stand out. Like Nosferatu, you could like remove the Nosferatu character and the other characters and then set some other kind of like medieval backdrop. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of feel about Nosferatu, where Dune and Wicked are like their own thing. That makes sense. Film editing: Conclave, Honora, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Brutalist. I've only seen Wicked. I don't agree with Wicked being here for film editing. I can't say anything about the other ones, but I do think there are a couple that was snubbed from the film editing we'll talk about a little bit later. We got Best Achievement in Cinematography: The Brutalist, Nosferatu, Dune Part 2, Maria, and Emilia Perez. Maria also is on Netflix. I've only seen Dune and Nosferatu. Out of the ones I've seen, I would lean into Nosferatu, but there's definitely a couple here that I also think were snubbed. We'll talk about in a little bit. I haven't seen The Brutalist, Maria, or Emilia Perez, so I'm going to lean to Nosferatu for the cinematography. But my personal pick, we'll talk about a little bit later. Best adapted screenplay: Conclave, A Complete Unknown, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Nickel Boys, I really want to see. If you see, hey, wait a minute, why do you have a check mark for your watch list here, but not these other ones you're saying they're on your watch list? That's because I have two watch lists. I put movies. Okay, so I used Letterbox. You can follow me on Letterbox, by the way. It's linked down below. Um, on Letterbox, I'll create lists of a bunch of things. One of those things is movies I still need to watch for that year. So you can see 2024, I have 260 films still in here, and then I'll make like the best of films, probably like my short list. And what I do is I'll hear about a movie before it gets a US release date because I base my lists off of widest US release date. Nickel Boys does not have a wide US release date yet. So, unfortunately, yeah, it does not have one listed on IMDb yet, so that's why it's still marked over here. Once it does, it'll get moved over to IMDb and removed from my IMDb watch list. Moved over to Letterboxd, removed from my IMDb watch list. Yeah. So I have no dog in this fight. We'll move on to original screenplay: Honora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, The Substance, and September 5th. I'm rooting for The Substance. I don't even really care if I see these other movies. The Substance is, I mean, it kind of treads on some waters like that of like subjects we've talked about before, we've seen by other movies, but it kind of approaches it in such a unique way that I definitely want to get. Like, The Substance is such a cool movie. Like, let's throw out some love to The Substance. But again, who knows? Maybe I'll watch one of these four films and be like, "Holy smokes, that is so good." That's very, very possible. So we'll see. Best achievement in directing: Brady Corbett, The Brutalist. Uh, the Emilia Perez director. I don't know how you say that. Jacques Audiard. I don't know. I don't know. Sean Baker, Honora, Coralie Farget. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Farget. And James Mangold. I'll go over The Substance director, although I haven't seen the other ones. Substance is really well directed, so I'm going to give it to The Substance for now. Best performance by an actress in a supporting role: Zoe Saldana, Emilia Perez, Ariana Grande, Wicked, Isabella Rossellini, Conclave, Monica Barbaro, Complete Unknown, and Felicity Jones, The Brutalist. I've only seen Ariana Grande in Wicked. Uh, she was good. I hated her character. I think I was supposed to hate her character. I don't know. I hated her character, so I can't really say too much here. Same thing with actor and supporting role because I've not seen any of these, but Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain, Edward Norton in Complete Unknown, Yoria Borisov, Nora, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. Unfortunately, I've not seen any of those yet. Is The Apprentice available to rent somewhere? Cool, it's on Prime. Um, yeah, so I've tried to catch these sometimes. Is A Real Pain available to rent? It's on Hulu. Sick. Performance by an actress in a leading role: Mickey Madsen, Fernanda Torres, Mickey Madsen, Honora, Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here, Demi Moore, The Substance, Carla Sofia Gascon, Amelia Perez, and Cynthia Erivo, Wicked. I would love to see Demi Moore get it. Demi Moore was so good in The Substance. It's one of her best performances I've ever seen. But haven't seen these other four, but I'm right now I'm rooting for Demi Moore. Best performance by an actor in a leading role: Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown, Rafe Fiennes, Conclave, Adrian Brody, The Brutalist, Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, and Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. Not seen any of these, so don't really have much of an input here, but I'll try to watch them at some point. And then best motion picture of the year, we have Wicked, The Substance, Honora, Conclave, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, A Complete Unknown, and I'm Still Here. I've only seen a couple of them. I'm rooting for The Substance. It's so cool that The Substance got a best Oscar nom pick, best picture Oscar nom. That's awesome. Is it the best movie? It's not my favorite movie of the year. Is it the best movie of what I've seen here? Yes. Is it better than these movies I haven't seen? I don't know. So with that being said, before we jump into what I think kind of got the snub, here are my like personal like here's my plan is I'm going to try to watch at bare minimum the best pictures of the year if I can. Nickel Boys might be hard to get to. Same thing with I'm Still Here, but I'll try to watch the other ones if I can before the Oscars, and I'll try to watch some of these other movies sprinkled in as well. And maybe I'll do like a Oscar review dump. But let's talk about some snubs. I will say, out of the past like 12, 13 years I've been watching the Oscars, they're doing the same thing I've always complained about, which is they're like basically ignoring most of the films of the year and only like picking a handful, and then those handful of movies get every nomination. Like, we can't have more diversity between categories. Like, these movies that are nominated for motion like best picture of the year don't also need to be nominated for every other single category. Like, we can like limit when like show more love to more film, because genuinely I am very surprised Furiosa was not nominated for best sound, was not nominated for best visual effects, and was not nominated for best production design. Now, I have some of my issues with the visual effects Furiosa, but there's a lot of it that's really, really good. The production design is really, really good, and the sound design is also really, really good. So it's a little surprising there's not any Oscar nomination for Furiosa. Also, shout out to Chris Hemsworth, who gave one of his best performances in this movie. Really bummed. You also have Challengers. Challengers was not nominated for best original score, which also the Substance original score is fantastic. We could easily bump out Wild Robot and Wicked's original score for the Substance and for Challengers, which I personally think Challengers had the best score of the entire year. It's my favorite. It's my favorite part of the entire movie. Hold, please. Sure, Mike Fast, Josh O'Connor, and even Zendaya were all good in their roles. The cinematography here is really good, but the film editing is really good. And the cinematography is good. The film editing is better. And the score to this movie by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross is the best score, in my opinion, of the entire year. So it not to get any nominations feels like a huge snub. Um, what else do we have? I'm going to shout this movie out. I personally, this is still one of my favorite movies of the entire year in a violent nature. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people's right in the middle on it. For me personally, who's got the small soldier? I personally love this movie. I adore this movie, and it's one of my favorite movies of the year. But there's two categories that this movie is fantastic in that I honestly think should have got some kind of nomination, or at least some kind of love. Cinematography of this movie is beautiful. It is insanely well shot. Pass that off. The visual effects in this movie are great. There's one kill that's not great, but there's also a couple that are insanely good when it comes to the visual effects. So, kind of personally bummed about it in Violent Nature. No noms for Dylan, which is unfortunate. Love Lies Bleeding, again, really good cinematography. Kristen Stewart was amazing. Katie O'Brien was also really good in this. So it didn't get anything, kind of sucks. I thought this movie was fantastic. Would have loved to seen it get something. Deadpool Wolverine didn't get visual effects, which is the one category, or sound, which is the two categories I think it potentially could have got. Got neither. I'm also trying to be realistic. Like there's personally movies that I really loved that I understand the Oscars wouldn't give any kind of shout to, which in a Violent Nature is in that category, but I love that movie so much. I got to pimp it out a little bit, I guess. Long Legs, no cinematography nom. Seems like probably the best suited for it would have been cinematography. So that's kind of lame. It didn't. One of my favorite movies of the year, Azrael, didn't get anything. If you're gonna give any movie a sound design like nomination, hello. This movie is like a silent film basically that uses just nature sound through the entire thing. Yeah, this movie's awesome. Super loved it, but I kind of get why I didn't get nommed for anything. So out of the movies I've seen, I also Civil War. Civil War got no sound design. Civil War has great sound production. Civil War also has a lot of other great things going for it, like the original screenplay. So that's kind of lame. Sasquatch Sunset, as much as people may love or hate this movie, the costumes are fantastic in this movie. The Sasquatches look great. That's pretty much it for the movies I've seen. There's an argument for Strange Darling for film editing. I actually think the way this film is edited makes it better than what it is. So there's definitely definitely an argument for Strange Darling for film editing. So, but that's the Oscars for you. Anyway, if you want to watch the Oscars along with me, you can subscribe here, turn on the bell notification. I'll be streaming live here and on Twitch. My reaction to the Oscars will be streaming the whole Oscar show. You have to watch the Oscars yourself somewhere. I'm only going to be reacting to it. I can't show it. It's not like the Game Awards where you can actually watch and show, which is lame. You should be able to. They need get out of your come on, Oscars, get with the game here. But that's the Oscars nom, and I will see you later. Bye.